They say reality is solid, but what if it's not? What if everything you see, touch, and feel is merely a reflection of your inner landscape? What if the walls around you, the people you meet, and the path beneath your feet are all whispers of your own thoughts, arranged into matter by an invisible rhythm? It sounds mystical, maybe even impossible, yet everything humanity has ever built was once invisible. Every bridge, every symphony, every heartbreak began first as a thought, a spark in the mysterious workshop of the mind. The power of the human mind is not in what it stores, but in what it shapes. It doesn't merely mirror the world, it molds it. Each thought is an artist's brush on the vast canvas of creation. This is not imagination gone wild. This is the true law that underlies existence, the quantum rhythm of manifestation. You and I are walking inside the architecture of our own awareness. The question is not whether you are creating. The question is how consciously you are doing it. Still, most people live as if their minds were accidents, a storm of images they didn't choose, words they didn't mean, emotions they didn't understand. They pray for peace while sowing chaos, chase love while feeding fear, speak of freedom while clinging to control. They are creators asleep in their own dream, unaware that every pulse of thought sends ripples through the fabric of life. The mind is always creating. The universe is always responding. The only choice you have is whether your signal is clear or confused. When one learns to create the mind first, the world follows like an obedient echo. It is not sorcery. It is structure. The mind is the first architecture of all manifestation. Every invention, every revolution, every quiet act of courage began as an inner blueprint, an invisible rehearsal of the visible. The secret is not to force the world, but to refine the inner climate. When the weather inside you becomes calm and luminous, the world outside begins to mirror the same radiance. To master the mind is to master creation itself. A focused thought is not weak. It is laser light bending matter through clarity. You've seen it before. The athlete who visualizes victory until the body obeys. The musician who hears the song before the strings are touched. The scientist who dreams of a solution before equations appear. That is the mind as creator. That is manifestation in motion. Begin small. Each morning, write one clear intention. Today I speak with grace and listen with depth. Then live that sentence. Let it shape your breath, your tone, your presence. Over days, you'll notice the world bending to meet your clarity. Opportunities aligning, people responding differently. Inner peace thickening like honey. That's not coincidence. That's consciousness at work. The mind is not a mirror. It's a lens, and the lens must be clean. A foggy mind distorts reality, but a clear one directs unlimited possibility into form. That's why silence is sacred, not as absence of sound, but as alignment of signal. When you sit in stillness, you're not doing nothing. You're tuning your frequency to the field of creation. From that stillness, one pure thought can move mountains. Now imagine not only your mind, but your body, emotions, and energy. The full orchestra of your being, playing the same note. Imagine the power of that harmony. That is where the next secret begins to unfold. Manifestation isn't magic, it's alignment. The human being is a four-dimensional instrument: body, mind, emotion, and energy. Each dimension hums with its own rhythm, its own pulse. But most live like a band out of tune. The mind racing, the emotions leaking, the body tired, the energy scattered. They call it stress, but it's really dissonance. Manifestation requires music. When these four dimensions align, they don't just add, they multiply. The body acts as vessel, the mind as compass, the emotions as current, and energy as wind. When they move together, the voyage becomes effortless. That's not philosophy. That's the physics of the soul. Alignment creates coherence, and coherence creates power. You've felt it before. Those rare moments when everything flows. When the body feels light, the mind focused, the heart open, and life seems to move through you rather than against you. That's not luck. That's harmony. To nurture that harmony, you don't need rituals of grandeur. You need awareness of detail. Before you act, pause. Breathe. Ask, do all parts of me agree with this choice? If your body feels heavy, your breath short, or your emotion uneasy, pause again. Realign. You cannot manifest clarity through conflict. When all four dimensions move in one direction, even a whisper becomes thunder. Yoga, in its essence, is the technology of this alignment, the science of coherence. It's not about flexibility of muscle, but flexibility of perception. It's not about posture, but the posture of consciousness. Through simple breath, stillness, and awareness, you align your instrument to the frequency of creation itself. Then life no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something flowing through you. When your body, mind, emotion, and energy unite, the smallest action becomes sacred. Even sipping water or walking in silence feels infused with power. The universe seems to respond to your very presence, not because you demand, but because you're synchronized. That's when creation becomes conscious. That's when the human being stops being a ripple and becomes the ocean. They say the human mind is a living kalpavriksha, a tree of desires, ancient and luminous, rooted in the unseen and branching into the seen. Whatever you think beneath its shade begins to bloom, whether roses or thorns. The tree does not judge. It reflects. It listens to the vibration of thought and responds without hesitation. Think joy and the air warms. Think fear and shadows lengthen. That is the sacred neutrality of creation. The universe mirrors what you project, not what you prefer. The mind is the gardener, not the soil. It decides what grows. Most people plant weeds with every careless word, every fearful story repeated for comfort. Then they wonder why the garden feels wild and heavy. But those who tend the inner soil with awareness learn the ancient art of conscious planting. They understand that each thought, repeated often enough, becomes a seed that breaks through reality's crust and bears fruit. This is not superstition. This is attention turned divine. Train your inner kalpavriksha through awareness, not incense. At dawn or dusk, when the veil is thin, sit quietly. Watch your thoughts for 5 minutes, like clouds passing. Notice which ones you feed with emotion, for emotion is water to thought. Then choose one idea to nourish consciously, something kind, clear, and brave. Repeat it gently, not as demand, but as devotion. In time, you'll feel the garden shift, weeds thinning, blossoms brightening, silence becoming fertile. Beware of feeding the tree with poison disguised as prayer. Thoughts of anger, jealousy, and despair are not punished. They're fulfilled. The tree of desires gives generously, even to your darkness. That's why mastery begins with mindfulness, and mindfulness begins with honesty. You must know what you are feeding before you can change the harvest. Build small rituals of cleansing. After each intense day, close your eyes and whisper, "I release what no longer serves my peace." Imagine shaking the dust from your branches. See the leaves glowing again. This is not imagination for escape. It's imagination for renewal. Conscious creation begins where inner housekeeping becomes sacred. The kalpavriksha is not a myth from distant lands. It is your own consciousness in bloom. It stands at the crossroads of your inner and outer worlds. When you sit beneath it in stillness, you become both the dreamer and the dream. And if you listen long enough, you'll notice something subtle. The tree never asks how. It only asks what. It manifests direction, not doubt. The rest is handled by the rhythm of existence itself. Faith is the gardener's best tool. Faith does not argue with the soil. It plants and waits. It trusts the unseen rain. Faith is not blindness. It is seeing farther than the eyes allow. Overthinking uproots the seed before it can sprout. It doubts the process, measures the soil, questions the rain, and then wonders why nothing grows. Faith is like still water, clear, deep, reflective. Thought is the surface wind. It must calm before the reflection appears. A single doubt ripples the surface. A single breath of faith stills it again. When the mind is quiet, manifestation becomes immediate because energy no longer leaks through indecision. The universe loves clarity. It hesitates only when you do. Faith is not believing everything will go your way. It's knowing that whatever comes is your way. In that space, resistance dissolves. The creative mind stops wrestling and starts dancing. It becomes a current rather than a dam. That's where the power of faith meets the precision of conscious creation. Faith and overthinking are not enemies. They are different stages of the same journey. Thought searches for certainty. Faith surrenders to clarity. Once you've gathered enough information, close the book and listen to the silence behind your heartbeat. That's where decision turns into direction. That's where the energy of manifestation condenses into form. Simplify. Choose one belief to live by today. Say it aloud like a vow. Life supports my intention. Then stop arguing with it. Watch how people, moments, and coincidences rearrange themselves around that signal. This is not superstition. This is synchronization. The universe is a mirror polished by faith. The mind is clever, but faith is wise. Cleverness calculates. Wisdom trusts timing. When you balance the two, when thought becomes servant to awareness, you stop chasing outcomes and start walking with rhythm. That is the sacred intersection, where quantum manifestation turns into embodied grace. The greatest mistake of the human mind is its obsession with prediction. We keep deciding what is possible and what is not, as if we are the authors of the universe. We limit infinity to fit the memory of our failures. Every "I can't" is an echo of yesterday dressed as logic. But life is not a museum of what has been. It's a living field of what could be. The moment you say impossible, you turn away from the door that's quietly opening. The creative mind knows that the future is a blank canvas, not a repetition of the past, but an invitation to explore. Each breath holds 1,000 possibilities, each thought the power to sculpt time itself. But the mind, addicted to safety, clings to familiarity. It measures tomorrow with the ruler of yesterday and wonders why nothing new grows. To live as a creator is to step into the unknown, not with fear, but with curiosity. It is to whisper to the infinite, "Show me what else is true." When doubt appears and the mind says, "No way," reply, "Maybe. Maybe it can happen." Maybe the universe knows a route you can't see. That single word, maybe, cracks open a window in the walls of disbelief. From there, the light of possibility enters. Once the mind loosens its grip on limitation, quantum manifestation begins to flow again. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped blocking it. Nature decides what is possible, not our opinions. Once, flight was fantasy. Now it's transport. Once, talking across oceans was miracle. Now it's habit. Reality is not fixed. It's flexible, molded by exploration and courage. Every discovery in history was made by a mind that dared to disobey the boundaries of experience. The organized mind is not one that obeys rules. It's one that knows which rules are ready to be rewritten. Try a 7-day possibility sprint. Day 1. Define one desire that feels slightly out of reach. Write it down clearly. Days 2 through 6. Each day, take one small, concrete step that nudges reality closer to that vision. A message, a design, a learning, a risk. On day 7, reflect not on whether it happened, but on how your energy shifted. You'll feel it. Lighter, wider, more electric. That's manifestation energy rekindled through permission. The universe is not waiting for your certainty. It's waiting for your openness. In that openness lies the doorway to expansion. It's not faith in the future. It's faith in the intelligence that shapes the future. The ocean doesn't need your map to make the tide. It only needs you to step into the water, and then comes yoga. Not the bending of limbs, but the bending of reality through alignment. Most mistake yoga for posture, forgetting that posture is only preparation. True yoga is technology of consciousness, the fine-tuning of the inner instrument. It's the art of organizing body, mind, emotion, and energy so that existence itself becomes your collaborator. When these 4 currents flow in harmony, creation ceases to be effort. It becomes elegance. The human system is the most sophisticated technology in the universe, yet most treat it like a toy without a manual. Yoga is that manual. Every breath is a command. Every stillness is a recalibration. When practiced as awareness, yoga resets your vibration, aligning your 4 human dimensions into one coherent frequency. In that coherence, quantum manifestation becomes effortless, as if reality itself were exhaling your desires. Yoga is like a software update for the soul. The body is the hardware, the mind the interface, the emotions the apps, the energy the power source. Without alignment, the system glitches, fatigue, confusion, anxiety. But when updated through conscious awareness, everything runs smoothly. Thought becomes clear code. Action becomes precise execution. You begin to live not by default, but by design. At dawn, sit quietly before the world wakes. Align your spine, close your eyes, and feel life pulsing beneath the skin. Breathe slowly until the mind melts into rhythm. Then speak one intention, not loudly, but with certainty. May every thought today serve creation, not confusion. This is yoga, not a movement of muscle, but of consciousness. The stiller you become, the more the universe moves through you. Through this alignment, the power of thought deepens. It no longer floats like dust in the wind. It becomes gravity itself. You begin to see that your energy is not separate from the world's, that your breath, heartbeat, and intention are part of the same cosmic pulse. This is the true yogic law of attraction, not desire chasing fulfillment, but energy aligning with destiny. When your inner instrument is tuned, the outer world plays along. It's not arrogance, it's harmony. You no longer chase the melody of life, you become it. Actions unfold with grace, timing feels effortless, and manifestation becomes a quiet conversation with existence itself. You realize that you are no longer a creation tossed by circumstance. You are the creator shaping circumstance into meaning. This is the transition yoga was always meant to awaken, from being a fragment of life to becoming life itself. And from that realization blooms a deeper question. If creation is no longer accidental, what directs it now? The answer is intention, for without clarity of desire, even the most powerful mind drifts like a ship without a compass. Desire without clarity is like wind without direction, powerful, but lost. Most people drift, powered by vague longing, then wonder why life feels scattered. The universe is not unkind, it's just precise. It responds not to noise but to signal. When your desire is clean, the field listens. When it's confused, even miracles hesitate. A true creator writes their intention as clearly as an architect draws a map. The mind must see, feel, and understand the blueprint before it builds. Clarity condenses energy. It makes your quantum manifestation dense enough to touch. So craft one sentence so vivid that even half asleep, you can feel its truth humming in your chest. Not a wish, but a declaration. I am building a life that expands peace. I am embodying abundance that blesses others. That's not fantasy, it's direction. Once clarity is born, the next step is purification, removing what contradicts your intention. You cannot manifest health while worshiping stress, or call in love while feeding resentment. These split energies cancel each other out. Each week, sit with your intentions and ask, do my thoughts, my tone, my rest, my relationships echo this vibration? Adjust gently. Creation isn't punishment. It's precision. Every desire carries a fragrance. Learn to sense yours before you release it. If it smells like doubt, refine it. If it smells like joy, trust it. Each time you align body, mind, emotion, and energy behind one direction, creation accelerates. This is the secret science of Samyukti, the unification of inner instruments. It's not about control. It's about coherence. Clarity without consciousness becomes compulsion. Many confuse action with manifestation. They rush, hustle, chase, believing motion equals progress. But most of that motion is noise. Compulsive action powered by anxiety, not awareness. When you act without alignment, you may move fast, but in circles. This is the loop of effort. You push harder, achieve fragments, yet feel hollow. That's not failure. That's disconnection. Conscious creation begins when movement arises from stillness. It's not about doing more. It's about doing with awareness. Each step chosen, each word deliberate, each silence purposeful. The world no longer pulls you. You move it. Practice the 3P check. Pause. Perceive. Proceed. The pause stops compulsion. Perceiving reconnects body, mind, emotion, and energy. Proceeding then becomes alignment. Try it before sending a message, before making a decision, before reacting. You'll notice that what once felt urgent begins to dissolve. Urgency is a symptom of disconnection. Awareness is its cure. When action becomes conscious, even small deeds turn sacred. You may wash dishes, yet the rhythm feels meditative. You may speak one honest word, yet it shifts an entire relationship. This is the magic of awareness, turning the ordinary into the divine. You begin to live like an artist painting reality in real time. Each breath becomes brushstroke, each thought color. That's quantum manifestation in motion, the art of being awake. As consciousness deepens, you begin to see the hidden engine beneath all desires. Every longing carries the same pulse, a yearning to feel pleasant inside. Whether you seek wealth, love, power, or peace, you're reaching for one thing: inner ease. The universe may wear many costumes, but the actor beneath is always the same: the wish to feel whole. You don't want the thing. You want the feeling the thing promises. The chase is for joy, not jewels. For freedom, not fame. And here lies the paradox. The moment you generate the feeling within, the external begins to arrange itself around it. You stop running and start radiating. The creative mind turns from hunter to light source. This is the reverse wish. Instead of saying, "I want peace," begin by being peaceful now. Feel it in your breath, your tone, your eyes. Let your inner Kalpavriksha sense that serenity. It will mirror it tenfold. Creation amplifies the dominant vibration, not the wish, but the state. The law is simple. You receive what you are ready to hold. Design your emotion each morning. Upon waking, before the phone or the noise, sit in silence. Ask, what 3 feelings do I want to live today? Maybe calm, maybe clarity, maybe courage. Then breathe each one into your body. Feel the words become weight, not air. This reprograms the subconscious, not through repetition alone, but through emotion. The language of energy is feeling, not grammar. When practiced daily, this shapes destiny. Outer events start echoing inner states. When you are peaceful, opportunities arrive without chase. When you are grateful, abundance multiplies. When you are open, connection finds you. The law of attraction, in its yogic essence, is not about drawing things in. It's about dissolving the resistance that keeps them out. Yoga as technology of consciousness is not escape from life. It's mastery of living it fully. When you are aligned inside, even the smallest act glows with divinity. Heaven is not a place. It's a state of precision between body, mind, emotion, and energy. Then the mind becomes organized. The energy flows unhindered, and joy ceases to depend on conditions. In that state, peace is not found. It's emitted. You stop needing the world to behave and start using every moment as practice. A storm becomes meditation. A challenge becomes sculpture. You live not as a survivor of chaos, but as its composer. As understanding matures, the heart asks a new question, not, how can I get more? But how can I give better? Once you realize everything you seek is a feeling, generosity becomes effortless. You give joy because you have it. You share peace because you are it. In that giving, creation accelerates again, circling back like breath. Inhalation, exhalation, receive, release. And in this rhythm of awareness, something deeper awakens, the wish to live consciously, not compulsively. To wake each morning intending to build a world soaked in love, one thought, one action at a time. That is the ultimate manifestation, not the acquisition of things, but the creation of harmony. Mastery doesn't arrive as thunder. It arrives as morning. Creation is not a single leap, but a rhythm, an agreement you renew with life at dawn. Each day is a blank temple asking, what shall we worship with our attention? Begin with noise, and noise multiplies. Begin with clarity, and clarity becomes your climate. So sit, breathe, listen. Before touching a screen or a plan, touch the silence that built the stars. In that hush, the mind remembers its craft. It sets the frequency for the day, and the world quietly tunes to it. This is the inner sunrise. Sit upright, spine like a prayer, chin soft, gaze resting in the dark behind the eyes. Inhale as if drawing light from the horizon. Exhale as if releasing yesterday's dust. 3 minutes can alter a life when done daily. Then speak one intention, not as plea, but as placement. Today, I walk in clarity and kindness. Let the words drop into the body like stones into water, rippling through muscle, breath, and nerve. Feel the 4 dimensions align, body steady, mind clear, emotion harmonious, energy awake. This is not performance. This is permission. From here, plant the 3 seeds. First, attention. Choose where your eyes will rest today, on gratitude, craft, or service. Second, action. One decisive step that turns your North Star from sentence to scene. Third, atmosphere. Curate the music, light, and space that match your intention. Creation loves congruence. It grows fastest where inner and outer agree. When your room whispers the same vow your heart is making, even air becomes ally. Some mornings come heavy, like winter on the bones. The mind fogs, the body resists. Welcome them as weather, not verdict. There is no failure in a clouded dawn. There is only the next breath. On those days, reduce the ritual, not the reverence. 1 minute of stillness, 1 sentence of truth, 1 honest step. The point is not to perform devotion. It is to remain devoted. Consistency bends fate in ways intensity cannot. Support your constancy with small structures that hold you when willpower wavers. A 40-day cycle, 1 intention lived simply for 40 sunrises. A weekly possibility sprint to keep the heart brave. A daily 3P check to keep actions conscious. And a quiet evening audit. What did I feed my inner kalpavriksha today? What blossomed, what withered, what needs water tomorrow? These are not chores. They are chords, tuning you to harmony. Anchor your intention to the body so the mind can't lose it. Wear a ring and touch it before you speak. Tie a thread around your wrist. Each time it brushes your skin, breathe 1 conscious breath. Place a small object on your desk that reminds you of the state you're cultivating. A feather for lightness, a stone for steadiness, a candle for clarity. The subconscious loves symbols. It listens faster to images than to arguments. When symbols and breath conspire, even old patterns soften. Midday, return to stillness for 1 minute. Close your eyes wherever you are. Unclench the jaw. Drop the shoulders. Breathe in for 4, out for 6. Whisper your vow again. Imagine the kalpavriksha above you, leaves gleaming, roots deep, granting not from fantasy but from fidelity. The faithful mind is a magnet. The organized mind, a compass. Together, they guide the day back into alignment. Sacredness is not reserved for temples. It's in the way you stir your tea, answer an email, step through a doorway. Let ordinary gestures become yoga, the technology of consciousness lived among errands. When you lift a glass of water, feel gratitude in the hand that holds it. When you speak, let each word carry the fragrance of your morning intention. When you listen, make silence spacious enough for another soul to breathe. This is how the mundane turns luminous. When evening arrives, receive it like a teacher. Sit again and review the day without drama. Where did you act from awareness? Where did you slip into compulsion? Praise the places you stayed awake. Forgive the places you slept. Then adjust tomorrow's sail. 1 habit to soften, 1 cue to add, 1 distraction to release. Creation is iterative. The creator refines. Some nights will ache. A plan will falter. A conversation will bruise. A door will close. In those moments, do not declare defeat. Deepen devotion. Light a candle. Place your palm on your heart. Say, even this is my way. Let the breath gather the scattered pieces of you and bring them home. Pain does not mean the energy of manifestation has abandoned you. Often it means it is sculpting you, hollowing a space where new light can live. The garden sometimes looks barren before spring. Across weeks, this rhythm becomes a river. You begin to witness a quiet revolution. Choices simplify, presence thickens, and the gap between intention and outcome narrows. People call it luck. You know it as coherence. They call it timing. You feel it as trust. The mind no longer shouts, it hums. The 4 human dimensions keep their pact. And life, sensing your steadiness, hands you responsibilities it once withheld. Relationships, opportunities, thresholds that require a calm captain. Eventually, a deeper urge rises, to create not only for yourself, but for the space around you. The highest manifestation is not acquisition, it is atmosphere. Walk into a room and let your presence lower the noise. Speak and let your words remind others of their own light. Work in a way that upgrades the field for everyone in it. This is generosity beyond charity. Energetic leadership the world can feel without a single announcement. Now the circle closes, and the conclusion becomes a beginning. What if tomorrow's reality is already listening to today's signal? What if the universe has always been an echo? Faithful, exact, answering the fragrance of your inner weather? Your mind has been broadcasting all along. Now tune the frequency. Choose faith and simplicity over noise. Align body, mind, emotion, and energy until your current moves as one river. That is not luck. That is conscious creation. A collaboration between your clarity and existence itself. Carry a field kit that fits in a pocket and lasts a lifetime. 1 North Star sentence you can't mistake at 3 a.m. 3 daily behaviors that prove it in motion. The 3P check to keep every step awake. 5 minutes of yoga to stabilize samyukti until focus becomes your resting pulse. Start small, but start now. Every aligned act closes the distance between creator and creation. So let me ask, softly and directly, which desire becomes a decision today? Which belief will you retire because it no longer serves possibility? Where will you practice conscious creation in the next hour? Your work, your health, your love, or the space behind your eyes? Name one intention. Choose one behavior. Claim one win before nightfall. Let quantum manifestation become measurable through the evidence of your own day. If this touched a hidden place in you, keep walking with it. Return to these words at dawn when the world is quiet, and your inner Kalpavriksha is listening. Share this path with those ready to remember. Keep learning, refining, and practicing until devotion becomes your default. Your life will not change because you hoped. It will change because you practiced. Gently, daily, deliberately. And when the next sunrise arrives, as it always does, meet it like a creator. Sit, breathe, listen. Place your intention like a jewel on the altar of the morning. Then rise, walk softly, and let the world feel the music of your alignment.